In episode 1, the viewers and the players learnt a valuable lesson for this season. Listen to everything Karine says. We left off with Coco and Kevin having to pick between Ty and Venus for which one would become a traitor. This essentially meant the other player would be murdered. As these particular players are unknown to me, I was only becoming aware of their dynamics through what this show was presenting, the situation being made hard to decide due to the friendships outside of the game. Both Coco and Kevin were at an impasse as they wanted different people for different reasons. Ty was the sticking point as Kevin wanted him so Ty could be banished before him, while Coco wanted Venus because Kevin and Ty are supposedly tight. Venus was given the invitation to be a traitor. Her acceptance meant Ty was eliminated. I like the twist of making the traitors decide between two players of who would get the offer to become a traitor and who would be eliminated. It was a bit similar to what was done in New Zealand season 2, but that was a mid-game blackmail. I will admit that I did want there to be 4 traitors, 3 picked at the start with a 4th joining in the same circumstances as Venus did. Though with the Faithful's track record in the Canada version, 4 traitors would make it even harder for them to win in this edition. On to breakfast and the first sight of any overreacting, whether by the Faithfuls or traitors. That first moment to see how others behave once it's revealed who the victim is. There were 1 or 2 times where if I was sitting at the table watching the others come in, I would note to myself that particular players were being a little too extra. As we were hearing general public players like Jericho and Thompson talk about who they trusted, which included Kevin, I was wondering how were they already talking about going deep in the game and trust when they've barely spent 2 days together. I'm totally guessing on the 2 days as they did enter during the evening and then Ty was eliminated the next evening. Forget that we know Kevin is a traitor. Would you be so easy to trust someone who has been on a reality TV game show and won? Was the trust claim genuine or a game plan to align themselves with the big hitters and gamers? I don't think it was a game plan, so we shall see how far that trust actually takes them. Curtis said he didn't sleep much as he was constantly thinking, and boy did that brain of his come up with exactly what had happened the previous night.
There was a murder and a recruitment, both last night.
As a traitor, he would be on a watch list to see if he needs to be murdered or banished. There's too much insight already to keep further in the game. As this was the day of the first banishment, there were a lot of names flying around. Most of them were Faithfuls throwing out another Faithful's name, so this posed well for the traitors. What was interesting to hear was that Kevin was already plotting his revenge on Coco. Seeing the fact Kevin couldn't use Ty as a sacrificial lamb for banishment, he was looking to turn that plan on Coco instead. I thought Kevin might give it an episode or 2 before doing so, but he's laying the groundwork not only with the group of Faithfuls, but also told Venus. The mission was something that required the players to be in pairs. As there was an odd number of players, someone had to volunteer to sit out of the mission. It would also mean they couldn't get a shield. I wonder why this couldn't have been done as the first mission. I guess it will make sense as the episodes go on. After everyone looked at each other, Lizette volunteered to sit out, something that could end up being a bad idea. Lizette could find herself being murdered or suspected of being a traitor. It's not always the case, but Faithfuls don't need much for them to accuse you. Karine gave Lizette the power to pick each pair. 1 from each pair would have the opportunity to win a shield. There was $10,000 in total suspended from the trees. There was just the little problem that one of the pair is blindfolded, looking for the bags of money while the other one guides them to it. Watching this mission, I know it would be a struggle to be one of the blindfolded players as every caller of the pairs was shouting at the same time. That's a hard task to try and decipher anything that's being said. Just absolute chaos. Rhea had the right idea to make her voice more distinctive than those around her, and Curtis seemed to hear her. $9,600 was collected, which is a pretty good total. At first I'd wondered if there were shields and bags, so when Curtis was shown to have dropped one, I thought it would be significant. Oh, how wrong I was. A pair would get the opportunity to choose which one of them would receive it by showing the name while standing on a bridge. Karine would burn the bridge if they didn't both pick the same name. With only 4 bridges, there was a possibility that not all pairs would even get the opportunity to get a shield. Why did Omar look like he was having fun running while the bridge was burning and exploding? Jamal, Meredith, Asphere, Shaughnessy, Cara and Venus all ended up with a shield. I was wondering why on earth Coco held up Asphere's name instead of her own. To be a convincing faithful, she should have put her name up, as she had volunteered to not be safe in the previous mission, and Asphere was one of those that was safe. It was something mentioned by Jericho in his car afterwards. Then there was Curtis, who put his own name up instead of Rhea because it's his birthday suit. Rhea was another volunteer from the previous mission, but despite Curtis not winning safety, from the outside it looked like having Rhea's name would have been the best option. This would inevitably be something that would work against Curtis. Dom, Charla and Curtis were some of the names mentioned throughout the day. Though others were mentioned, it looked like these might be the ones in danger of being banished. I was surprised that one of the reasons people suspected Dom was because of his status and what he's done before, but yet those same people weren't shown to say any of the Big Brother or Survivor players. Even though I wasn't completely sure on who would be banished, it was clear that it was going to be a faithful. During the roundtable discussions, it looked like it might be Curtis. Hollywood J tried to get people to bring other names to the table, but a lot of them just weren't given anything. Funny, because there was a lot of chatter beforehand from some of those silent voices. This vote wasn't even close. It was overwhelmingly one-sided, with Curtis being the first one banished, receiving 16 out of the 21 votes cast. Curtis never stood a chance. Curtis thought he might have got a shield for his birthday, but instead he got banished. The dispute between Lizette and Meredith is something that will rumble on, and is possibly something the traitors can use to their advantage. Even Lizette thinks she's now a perfect option for murder, that either the traitors will do so to frame Meredith, or if Meredith was a traitor, she would do so herself. With Meredith having a shield and Lizette without one, it does look like Lizette is a plausible option. While we don't have a standard murder, the traitors have a death list instead, which will consist of 4 players of their choice. It was instantly agreed that none of the traitors would be on the list, which was the correct decision. I've talked many times about how it's a bad idea to put a traitor on a death list. It brings too much attention and gives the faithfuls an instant suspect. A lot of names were thrown out, mainly the general public players. At least we know who won't be on the list.